Welcome back to another episode of Naked Audio Tutorial. This is your Sgaudiohive. Okay, last video we went through the steps for the Chu mod, including the disassembly. Okay, so this particular video we are doing a Chu mod start to end. Okay, but this is a personal set, so we'll be doing a dual connector. You definitely not going to need this, so don't have to follow all the steps. Yeah, and there are some things that we need to take note for this, but anyway, the closing and everything, I mean the sealing of the IEM is the same if you're gonna do regardless MMCX or 2-pin. Okay, the parts I'll be using will be different from regular mods. Regular mod just use the standard 2-pin. All the things I'll put in the description below. Or you can use this MMCX or this one or whatever MMCX you can find. Okay, but for this particular mod, we are using the round flat MMCX, the short one. And okay, this is a special connector. This is a 2-pin connector, but the casing is shaped like the slots and groove of the MMCX. This is to fit 2-pin into MMCX slots. For example, like older IEMs lah. So I'm not even sure if I can get you the link for this one. But regardless, if I have, I'll put it in the link. I'll put the link in the description below. Okay. So we will be using the stock cable. So we just cut a length of this to be used. I'll show you the wiring later. Okay, first we'll just prep the connector by tinning them. Okay, so basically what we want to do, we want to connect both the signal, both the connector to the signal and ground of the driver. So by prepping the wire, this is because there's 4 wires inside here, so we can easily recycle them. Okay, so we'll pull out the wires one by one and we'll tin them accordingly. I like to use brown and green for ground and red and blue for signal. So for this step, we'll twist the red and blue together for the signal and the brown and green for the ground, and we'll tin them together. So it's 2 bundles, but you split into 4 after you are done with this part. So the other 4 wires will solder onto the connectors as per normal. Okay, done tinning for this part. Remove them. Okay, this is the fun part. So you have 4 wires. Tin them individually. Oh, we need the epoxy resin. I did mention in the last video. I'll put the last video in the link also. Okay, now we are ready. Let's take a look. So we'll connect the ground and the ground here. And the signal to the signal. Okay, so this was from the last video. We've actually done like quite a few sets of the Chus already, but we'll remove. Okay, take a look. If you're going to change any wires, there are black gum here, so we have to remove the black gum using tweezer or whatever you can. You can burn it away, but it's going to smell very bad and it's going to be toxic. So we are just peeling away the black gum. Okay, one other thing to note, the gum that used to close up the shell, you have to remove them entirely before you attempt to close up the IEM, because if you don't, they are not going to close properly, and you're going to have gaps and problems later on. So just make sure to remove all the gums at the side. Can you focus? At the side, on either the faceplate and both the faceplate and the main housing itself. Okay, so now we will be soldering on the wires. Remove the old wires. So remember, the red dot is the positive, and we have both the positive here linked together. Okay. You can actually not do this first, because the next step will be quite extensive. Okay, so it's all done. Wiring's all done. The next step, you do not need to do for a normal mod, because I've gone through already. But you do not need to do this next step. You can follow the last video for how to so-called shape the housing to fit your connector. But in this particular video, the next step is a dremel. Very big dremel job, because we want to create a space for the round MMCX to sit. Okay. In any case, if you are going to proceed with this, just take a look. I will fast forward until the whole thing is done. Okay, so we are sort of done with the drilling, and the next step is fitting and finishing. So just want to make sure that the fit is okay. Okay, seems like we can get a nice fit on this. Okay, so we got the fit proper this time. Okay, so before we actually do all the glue and epoxy, right, we need to do one last step, which is to get acrylic paint over the exposed inner metal. This step is it's just to make sure that okay, it's not to make sure, because it's not going to be 100%. The exposed part, they are not coated with insulation, so electricity can conduct. So what that means is that the ground pin is going to be connected to your source, and if there is what's that called? If there is charging or power involved, right? The electric, I mean the static is going to be in contact with the whole shell. So this step, right, is a sort of a small preventive measure, but it is not 100%. So if you are using this mainly with powered sources, like your desktop, laptop, or any sort of desktop equipment, we suggest no lah. This is for me, this is a testing unit. For regular mod, you do not need to drill away the coating for the MMCX. So this is for a testing unit. This is my testing unit. Okay, just to let you all know. So last step, we are going to put our epoxy up and down. So this is down. Then we'll place in the connector. It's gonna ooze out so let them ooze. Then we'll remove them from the outside. Make sure the polarity is correct. The signal is pointing upwards. And the MMCX connector. Okay, when we align the 2-pin MMCX, we want the 2-pin to be sort of flush with the MMCX because your pin may hit the connector. Same for the MMCX because MMCX needs a clean lock. You don't want the pin to hit onto the other connector and then the contact is not 100%. Okay, so while we wrap this up, we are going to apply some glue on the perimeter of the interior. Easy. I just told you in the last video. So remember to remove the previous old glue from the housing and faceplate. Okay, and then we'll just press down this new faceplate, let it sit for a few hours, and we'll color up the epoxy putty. Okay, make sure none of the glue leaks. It's going to take some effort because the epoxy adds thickness to it. So you're going to slowly remove the epoxy and slowly press down onto the housing. You can use knife or anything that is sharp, etc. to remove the epoxy. Okay, so all that's left is to wait for the epoxy to set, and you can color it up to whatever you want. Like I mean, you can don't color it also but that's up to you. So that's all for this video. Hope you all learned something.